pressure doesn't have to produce panic. You can be grounded even in the grind. Hey, CEOs, I'm Dr. Sakira. I'm your CEO whisperer and your business strategist. And I want you to know that if you've ever been on the edge, juggling everything, your clients, your team, your finances, your family, this video is for you. We're remixing Jay Shetty's classic and adding a little twist of intentional business growth. It's just a little seasoning on how to build and carry peace like it's a part of your business plan. See, the first thing I want you to know is peace is not a place, it's a practice. So many people wait for peace to arrive when it's actually a posture that you can create. You don't have to wait until, there's fire to breathe it out. No, peace is a breath in the middle of the blaze. And just like a leader that trains their team, you can train your nervous system to respond differently. See, I want you to do a quick exercise here right now, just right where you're sitting. I want you to use what I call the 90, turn on a timer, take a deep breath, and I want you to slow breathe for 90 seconds. And then when doing that, tell your brain, we're not in any danger, we're in development. See, most of the time, we make situations worse by what we're thinking. Just like when we were talking about in our last session, that it's our thoughts that we have to control, and it's not that you're out of control, you just need instruction. Well, that's the same thing here. If you start to teach your mind to be able to take breaths and take control of that subconscious so that it's not running, you will be able to breathe through the fire, breathe through what would normally be a panic situation. I know running a multi-million dollar business has got to be points where you feel like, oh my God, it's so. But Isaiah 26:3 says, you will keep perfect peace those whose mind are steadfast because they trust in you. And who's the you that we're talking about? We're talking about God. We're talking about how you create the peace in the middle of the pressure. We're talking about where that peace comes from. That peace comes from God. That peace comes from how you take a breath in the middle of the blaze, that you train your brain and then your team to slow down and look around and breathe. So this is what I want you to do right now. Get yourself a timer, and if you don't have a timer, get yourself your phone, and turn that timer on and set it for 90 seconds. And then you're going to take some slow breaths in. And you're going to tell yourself, what did I say? We are not in danger. We are in development. This is how we're going to get through this. Because, like it says in Isaiah 26:3, those whose mind is steadfast. The word steadfast means fixed, anchored. So the question isn't, how do I get to peace? It's, what am I fixing my mind on today? What am I going to be steady with? So if you want to help yourself not be blown by every wind that comes, every situation that comes past like chaff, what you're going to do is you're going to stop saying, I'm overwhelmed. That's what you have to do. Point number 2 is, you got to stop saying I'm overwhelmed. You got to stop saying I'm overwhelmed, and you got to start saying I'm prioritizing. Because you know what? Words matter. The language that you use shapes the experience that you have. When you name it, it becomes how you navigate it. So if you say you're overwhelmed, then you're going to feel that anxiety that's building up. But if you say I'm prioritizing, You're going to be more thoughtful. You're going to identify and compare what's more important. You're going to slow down. You're going to decide what is at the top of the list and what goes to the bottom of the list. So you're going to replace the words that you're using. You're going to replace I'm drowning in work. You're going to say I'm learning to manage this. I learned to manage the tide. You're going to replace I'm overwhelmed, and you're going to change it and you're going to say I'm choosing what matters most. You got to speak your piece in the middle of your storm. Just because the wind is blowing all around you does not mean that you have to have a moment like the men in the boat when Jesus was in the back and he was sleeping with his head on a pillow. And all of the disciples was like, Lord, do you not see that we are in the middle of a storm? And Jesus woke up and said, peace be still. He rebuked the wind and he told the water to sit still. And that's the same thing that you got to do to your thoughts. I don't care if you are a business leader, a CEO of a $10 million company or a $100,000 company or a $10,000 company. In the middle of the storm, you have to be able to say, peace be still, because it's your job to quiet your spirit so that you can manage the storm. I love to look at it from the perspective of a gardener, and I know that things are going to happen. As a gardener, as any gardener knows, storms are inevitable. The soil does not resist the rain. You know what I mean? Like when it's raining and all that rain is raining hard, you know what happens? The ground accepts all of the water and it soaks it up because storms are inevitable. It receives it, it filters it, it uses what it can. And that's what you have to do in the midst of the storm. That's what you have to become. That pressure is what you have to do. You have to filter, not flood. You know, I once worked with this CEO and he was leading a team of 45 people. And the company was growing fast. It was scaling fast. And the funny thing was that slowly but surely he was breaking. And so you know what we did? We worked on three little rituals. Three little things that he could do that helped him to get through the scale up of the company. Because the COO, you know, their job as the chief operating officer is to make sure that everything works, right? And so these three little rituals were morning breath work, daily gratitude wins, and saying this one little sentence, I get to instead of I have to. Now, what was really telling about that was that over the next 3 months, 90 days, he joined what I call our crisis to cash flow program, where we have a crisis recovery situation where you get to be in for 90 days and we just work and work and work and work on helping you just shift your thinking and your behavior and your habits. And that's what those three little rituals did. The breath work was to slow down the thoughts. The daily gratitude wins was to focus the thoughts. And the I get to instead of I have to was the manifestation of how you're going to behave. Because remember, we talk about this, the be, do's, and the haves of the day. How you are being determines what you are doing, and what you are doing determines what you are having, even when it comes to your thoughts. So if you can breathe, right? You're being a person who is centered, who is mindful, who is being intentional, right? And then what you're doing in that is you are doing those three daily gratitude wins. And those are actually giving you a place to focus your thoughts. And then you're also going to say, I get to instead of I have to. because that have to is that anxious anxiety, that doubt filled push that makes you feel as if you are out of control. So it pushes you to get back into the now. And that's our third point. You get anchored in the now. Most of the time, when stress comes, it doesn't come from something that is happening right now. Most of the time, stress comes from catastrophizing the future. I'm going to ask you to pull yourself back and say, what is true right now? Not what's true tomorrow, not what's true next week, right in this moment. Because here's the thing, peace doesn't live in the what if. Peace lives in the what is, right? The what is. So when it's the what is, you get to start to understand that you might be telling yourself a lie. Most likely you're telling yourself a lie because you have catastrophized, I can't really say that word very well, but you decided to turn into a catastrophe something that hasn't even happened yet. You've decided to say that this is going to happen even though it hasn't happened yet. And so by using these tools to anchor yourself in the now, you start to understand that you are not building a business. You are building a sanctuary, a place of peace and growth for you. But peace is not in the absence of pressure. It's in the presence of trust, in the presence of clarity, in the presence of the divine alignment, in the pressure. I want you to tag somebody who needs this reminder today. Drop something in the chat if you're choosing to have grounded leadership today. And subscribe if you want to have more spiritually anchored business shifting strategies. Because you know what? Peace is your strategy. Use it wisely. Stop. I don't want you doing that yet. Okay.